Even Porgie can breathe.
Yeah. So,
nobody was listening to them.
Yes.
10 years ago?
Yeah.
Nobody wanted to listen to them. Right now, you can't get Hiribai to play for you anywhere. For 2-3 sessions, walks me through healing through meditation. Literally peel off things that you've been carrying.
Yeah.
From your father's side, 4 generations,
Yeah.
you didn't know that you guys had a problem with people pleasing.
Yes.
But you've been carrying it. Right now, we don't have community.
Wow.
Right now, you can live next to someone and say, usicheze na ule mtoto wa number 2. Right?
Yeah, no, that's true.
We're now stuck in this place, and I think a lot of the problems that we have are because we're not understanding the available power to us. The Mookh story is interesting, right? We started talking about it as a solution for our own problems.
Okay.
We had a problem we needed to solve. We wanted to set up a business. We were setting up this Mookh vehicle to solve our problem.
What problem was this you were solving? Hello guys, and welcome to another episode of the Just to Kick It is a Blessing podcast. Welcome to the podcast where it's all about time, where we teach, inspire, motivate, and entertain through the art of storytelling. So today we have a special guest in studio. Without further ado, I'll let him introduce himself. Welcome.
Thank you, man. I really love the name of the podcast.
Yes.
Because for real, Just to Kick It is a blessing.
Yes.
My name is George Gachui. I'm more popularly known as Porgie.
Yeah.
It's kind of the name that came with the work that I did. I now also introduce myself as Gachui Wa Mwangi because we are reconnecting to our roots.
Yeah.
And it's important to start to use the names that connect us to the places that are able to ground who we are. So I'm a young guy, Nairobi born and bred.
Yeah.
And I'm just passionate about life and the good things that life has to offer.
Yeah. I thought Porgie comes from Georgie Porgie.
It does.
Okay.
It does. It comes from Georgie Porgie. Many people imagine it was my childhood nickname, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
I was actually just called Georgie as a child. But when I was in uni, I lived at a hostel.
Yeah.
And in this hostel, there were 5 Georges. So that's where the problem came now, because now you'd say George. We had this van bus we'd used to go to uni. And if you said George in the bus in the morning, 3 people would answer.
Yeah.
Right? So one guy, they told him you'll be now called karaoke. Another guy started being called waiter.
Yeah.
And then me, because I was, cute and cuddly
Yeah.
like I am now. So they decided this one is Georgie Porgie.
Porgie. Yeah.
And then slowly it moved from Georgie Porgie to just Porgie.
Yeah.
And I thought it was just in the area where we stayed at the hostel.
Yeah.
But I'd go to uni and introduce myself to someone as George.
Yeah.
And they'd be like, but I was told your name is Porgie.
Oh,
and I'm
shit.
like, okay, Georgie Porgie.
Whatever.
But eventually I got into entertainment and
Yeah.
Porgie was a perfect name. Everybody was trying to figure out what's my nickname, what's my stage name, those
Yeah.
kind of things. So Porgie fit perfectly and I ended up using it until today. My mom calls me Porgie.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think for this season, there's something we've introduced is, so we have this journal and there's a question every day on the journal. So let's see what your question is. Yours is very, very interesting. Yours is very interesting. What do you want to be remembered for long after you're gone?
Happiness.
Okay. Why?
I think when you talk about happiness, people really like, it's a thing you think you know. It's a thing you think you've experienced. You think happiness is almost a given. It's a natural thing. But there's a lot of people living life
Unhappy.
right? And I don't know how much control with it. But one of the things that really changed even how I looked at happiness generally is when Coca-Cola started selling their slogan as like what they sell or guaranteeing you is happiness.
Wow.
And when I started to see like brands are selling happiness as a promise, I was like, that would be a nice thing to be remembered for, that you went to places and when you left,
Guys were happy.
guys were happy, man. You brought happiness to spaces.
Yeah.
And you can do that in many different formats.
Maybe you want to just speak on what you said. What's the difference between now the two, happiness and joy? Because I think now that's another thing that we struggle to understand the two. But in what you think the difference of the two is? Because I thought you'd say joy.
I feel like happiness. Ooh, that's quite a tough question. When they say joy comes in the morning, I feel like joy is a thing that that you reach for, right? I feel like joy is I do things that bring me joy. So you can go and seek joy in things. You can derive joy from doing things.
Yeah.
I play sports and I'm joyful or I'm happy when I do that.
Yeah.
Happiness can be a continuous state of being. And I feel like happiness is like, even in the times where there is no joy, right? If you are grieving, if you are mourning, where do you find happiness? Even in the times where there is no joy, you know?
Yeah.
So I feel like joy feels like the celebration of it, you know?
Okay, so that one, there's fluctuations.
There's a fluctuation, you know. Joy is not really a permanent thing.
See.
There are times of joy and there's times of sorrow, right?
Okay.
But happiness, through it all, you know, you can
find a reason to happy.
You can find a reason to be happy through many of those things. Yeah,
that's crazy. Yeah. I've never looked at it or thought of it like that.
Yeah. And so, just to think, so imagine if I can go to, you know, a family that's grieving for a funeral meeting, and when you speak to them, they don't feel like you came and said, Pole, woye. They feel like, it was nice talking to that
this guy.
That guy gave me a bit of happiness.
Yeah.
You know? And so you can bring happiness anywhere. Yeah.
Okay. That's a different way to look at it.
Yeah, I've never actually thought of it before today, so I know. Now I think
now you think
now it's a lot clearer for
to you why you've chosen happiness.
Why I like happiness over joy.
No. You know, I remember when we sat on that panel towards the end of last year. I was like, this is a guy, like the way he's thinking about these questions, it was very unique to everything else. So I was like, I have to definitely have you on the podcast. So it's a blessing to have you here, you know.
Thank you for having me.
Lately, we've seen you been posting these 10 years throwbacks, 2016 throwbacks.
Yes.
How's that actually made you feel, or what's that, you know, opened in you?
You know, the internet, this algorithm nowadays, man, it's so weird or difficult to connect, right? And so you see all these things happen. I don't know whether they are trends, whether it's driven by something.
Yeah.
You know? So I didn't even understand why guys were looking at their 2016 pictures. But I saw everybody posting these things. The first thing that obviously hit me is like, you need to unfollow some of the following, because in 2016 they were 12 years old, you know. And so it was interesting to see that a lot of the people who are doing things today are relatively young. That 10 years ago, you know, these kids were in high school, you know, and we were already doing things. And so I went digging into my archive, and I've been blessed, and it's been a privilege to be able to really live life, right? For as far as I can remember, since I got out of uni, I've done what I love, right? And that path leads me in very weird, different places. So I know what I do. I'm a creative, I'm a problem solver, I'm an operations guy, I'm a business guy, I'm a manager. I'm able to think in different hats, right? But you can be called to do that in many different ways. And so looking back at 2016, I was like, wait, man, so many weird, different things happened. But it was also interesting to look at what I saw in 2016 and captured just randomly in the way we were capturing things, and what that looks like now. You know? So now we have the power of hindsight.
Wow.
So there's a guy that we were saying, this kid is going to be hot. And then now you look at all the posters and all the concerts, and these are the guys playing, right? And I think one of the best things that has come from that 10-year recap has been the reaction of especially young creatives who are like, my God, you mean this is not a new idea? You mean this guy didn't become hot during the pandemic?
Yeah.
You mean this guy didn't just go from nobody to hair? So being able to show people that there's actually a process to the madness. And especially in things like the creative sector, we've not been very good at documenting our stories.
Yeah.
So nobody understands the madness guys are doing in studio nights on nights on nights for years and years and years. The guys putting in time into building gigs.
Yeah.
What does that look like? How long have they been doing it? What are the lessons? And how do we pass some of these lessons on to other guys? So it's been an interesting path of reflection for me, but also I'm using it more as a tool to be able to show guys what 10 years is not a long time when you think about it, but so much can change if you water the same tree for 10 years. Yeah.
No, it's crazy. Let me tell you. The quote is actually about a tree. Because when I was reading for you the question, the journal actually has a quote. And it's kind of related to the question, the tree thing. And it said here, someone is sitting in the shade today because someone planted a tree a long time ago. So it's funny
100%.
that you've talked about trees and that's there. But you know what I think? I think as much as it's such an interesting trend to have, I think people now need to document that, because what social media came and taught us was instant gratification. This instant, like you do, you receive. But even when I watch now your stories, because I saw EA Wave, and it reminded me like those guys have actually been DJing for long.
And nobody was listening to them.
Yes.
10 years ago?
Yeah.
Nobody wanted to listen to them. Right now, you can't get Hiribai to play for you anywhere.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
He's untouchable. Everybody wants him.
Yeah.
10 years ago, they were pushing, and it's not because he changed. It's because he understood and was consistent in that watering that tree to the point where, and this has been one of the most interesting things, maybe I can speak as a creative in the space. We've come to a place where now the ideas and the concepts and the things we've been doing and the audience, we're speaking the same language.
Wow.
We've come from a place where it was like, this guy is speaking in Gujarati and this one is speaking in Kikuyu.
Yeah.
And then in the middle, there's a translator, right?
Yeah.
So now all of us here on, but now we've reached a place where it's like you put an idea and you can just see how well it gels with the audience. And so the power of time has been amazing for us.
I think it also brings me back to, I don't know which guy said it, but it's that 10,000 hour law. If you invest in a craft 10,000 hours, you'll become amongst the top 1% or amongst the best in that craft, But for you, when you also look at it, between 2016, because I also saw you did a podcast in 2016 to now, what do you think has been a major change in your life that has, led to the person that's here today?
Between 2016 and now.
Because I saw you posted something about you doing a podcast in 2016, yeah?
Yeah, we were experimenting, having convos.
Yeah.
And this. So a lot of it was, we were pushing ideas. We were super confident in, we were trying things, we were doing things. And it was kind of all systems go, all the people around us are thinking like us. I think the biggest shift that happened, and I would put it in two parts, of the guy I was in 2016 and the guy I am today. Number one was the pandemic.
Okay.
If you built your world
Yes.
around events and outside,
Yeah.
and then the pandemic came and people had a homa like we have today.
Yeah.
And you suddenly cannot go outside for 2 years.
Yes.
It changes who you are as a human being.
Yeah.
Right? I used to be considered the extrovert. I used to even if you asked me, I was an extrovert. I was the most outgoing outside person you knew. In the pandemic, I discovered I'm an introvert.
That's crazy. I discovered the same thing
right?
too.
So you discover things about you that they were just in a place no light reached, because there was never time between all the outside we were doing.
Yeah.
So the first thing was pandemic. Significantly shifted, how I look at myself, but also how I look at work and things, because what we were building as work also died in that pandemic.
Pandemic, yeah.
But the second biggest thing that happened during the pandemic is discovering meditation.
Oh, damn. Okay.
And I don't know if I discovered it, more like stumbled onto it. I'll tell you the story. We were scrambling for things to do to just, find normalcy and find purpose and find a reason to meet. And one of the guys I work with says, man, we need to figure out how we can work with musicians because musicians are struggling, nini. And since it's not now all about let's go to the shows, Rusha Mikono Juu, can we do something more conscious? Now, 2020, 2021, that was the season of Genge Tone.
Yeah.
Okay. And everybody was worried about the content of Genge Tone.
Yes.
So guys were like, the music is catching, but the things they're saying, And my argument was that, it's not stories they're making up. Right? When those kids were rapping 19, 20-year-olds about the life in the hood, the things they do and the way they speak about ladies, and it is reality, right? And so it was showing not at a fictitious, bad world. It's like these guys are not living in the heaven you guys are portraying for anybody.
Yeah.
And so we thought maybe, dig deeper into that and see if Genge Tone can be used to drive conscious music. Roundabout meetings, blah, blah, blah. We end up having a sit down with Mbogi Genge. And the idea is to work with Mbogi Genge to be able to understand. Because now, everybody was Ngomi Beg.
Yeah, like this.
Blah,
like the 30 rings.
Yeah. So now it was such a movement where this is the guys who can help us.
Yeah.
Went through a series of conversations. These guys are super smart. You'd never understand this from the lyrics because also they speak in their own language.
Yeah.
Like a code. So now you sit with them and you get to understand the people. And these guys were like, I like what you guys are saying. These conscious things are nice. But first, Ebu, come. Let me take you to where I come from. So that when you're telling me, bring these guys a different message, I need you to understand who these guys are. So they take this whole crew, man, some Muzungus, some Windis, hey, we're taking all of us. And the guy walks you through, the slum, and all these kids are coming up just being like, bro.
Yeah.
And they're looking up to, and the guy's like, these kids, me, I'm the guy who's showing them you can come out of this street.
And not in such a negative way.
And it's not about it either. Any them, they're just like, bro, this guy raps about what we see every day. And look how the world, the guy has met Sonko, the guy has met who, you know. So then they're seeing a vision they've never seen. Anyway, so they take us through that, and then they agree to do this 3-day, meditation, learn your aura, blah, 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 build.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dope. And then work, things are happening, life is happening. So I don't go for the first half of the day one. And then in the afternoon, I rock up. So it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So Monday afternoon, I rock up to the place. I find them having lunch. Then they say, actually, we're going to do some breathing exercises after this. So you should join us. I'm like, Wazi, I can breathe. If Mbogi Genge are going to breathe, even Porgie can breathe. Yeah. So we sit in this room and we start, hey, focus on your blah, blah, blah. And we move, breathing, meditation, chakras. Now, if you've never done those things, my guy Tupac, it's like entering a trance. You think you're hardcore, you think I got this, I know.
Yeah.
And then you enter and I felt huge. Like I entered a realm of myself I'd never been. And I always thought, so at that time, what I thought was that the pandemic had messed with my mind, right? Because I was like, man, we are thinking sana. So if there's a place where the chakras are not aligned, it's the mind, because I was on a trajectory, and now something has come that I didn't anticipate. So I need to clear my mind to find. Then we sit there, and the chakras show there's nothing wrong with your mind.
Yeah.
So me all this time, I'm the guy I want to spread happiness because I have a nice heart.
Yeah.
The chakras tell me you have a thing called a black heart.
What?
So now I'm like, what is this feeling?
Yes.
So I go back to this lady who's doing the breathing exercise.
Yeah.
Now, first, I hyper that session.
Yeah.
We finish, we have our conversation in the garden over there about the session. Then I bounce. Then we say, Kesho. I'm just like, I'm not going back to that place. That place they're waking me juju, I'm not going back. So I sit scared for 3 days. Then I call this lady and I tell her, man, this is how I felt. And she's the one who told me, actually, I think it's called a black heart. And she says, we can fix it. Come for these sessions. And so we schedule some sessions. I go to her place. And she literally, like, for 2-3 sessions, walks me through healing through meditation.
Wow.
You literally peel off things that you've been carrying.
Yeah.
From your father's side, 4 generations,
Yeah.
you didn't know that you guys had a problem with people pleasing.
Yes.
But you've been carrying it.
Yeah.
So now you're helped to release.
Yeah.
The day I finished those sessions,
Yeah.
that Porgie who used to exist
Yeah.
ended, because they give you a PDF
Yeah.
that now shows you all the things that you have really unpacked.
Wow.
And I looked at it and it was like being reintroduced to a new version of yourself, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, who am I without 4 generations of my father's ex, or 2 generations of my mother's or that teacher in class 2 who told me when in Jinga.
Yeah.
And then I've carried that thing until now,
Yeah.
right? So how do you peel off these things to start to find peace and happiness and joy in the everyday without the... Now, that day, light opened.
Yeah.
Then now the way life works, the light opens, then first you enter darkness.
Yeah.
So then relationship broke.
Yeah.
A relationship I'd been in for years.
Yeah.
Gone. Then now, you're starting life afresh, Nini. So I went into isolation for almost 6 months.
Wow.
I lived, a friend of ours has their families in real estate, so they have some 2 apartments somewhere.
Yeah.
And she was like, you come and enter over here and hide over here. So
Yeah.
I just used to be in this 1 bedroom
Yeah.
by myself,
Yeah.
figuring life out, right?
Wow.
And relearning this guy that I've been introduced
Used
to
to.
after I know, you think you know yourself. And so that from that day,
Yeah.
everything I do is different.
Wow.
The way I move, the way I think,
Yeah.
the way I work, the
Yeah.
way I value time, the way I value relationships, the way I value people, where I live, everything
Yes.
changed from that day I went into that meditation.
Wow. That's crazy. Because, you just said that is, and I think a lot of us say we know ourselves. You say, oh, I've been journaling maybe like for 4 years, I've been that. But, there's that deep unpacking that your journaling and all these other things can't help you see, and also tell people sometimes you think you're carrying something but it's not even you. It's just like what you said, layers of your father or mother's side that no one has decided to heal, and they pass it on, and then you pass it on, and then so it never ends, and it keeps on becoming worse, or the problem becomes bigger. Oh.
Becomes a societal problem.
Yeah.
And so, I'd recommend the more we can fix ourselves, take time to learn ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And the sad part is that we only take that time in crisis.
Okay.
Right? Nobody is ever like, my life is going so good.
Yeah.
Let me go into a time of meditation and isolation to figure out. No, it's always like you're crashing, you're burning, you're in depression. That's when now it's like, let me go and find some help. But in the way that our life is limited, it's almost like, how do you have maybe, signals, like a check engine light.
Oh.
And there's like a small thing that you see there has gone orange.
Yes.
And it's time for me to recalibrate. And I don't think we put enough value on that.
No.
Us guys, we use the machine without going for service.
Yeah.
You're waiting to go till you're 80. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's we set ourselves up for failure.
Yeah, like one of the best podcasts that I listen to, it's hosted by Stephen Bartlett. And a lot of the people who come there keep on saying the same thing. Is like, you don't have to go to therapy because you think you're messed up. Therapy is just the same way you treat your car. You treat your car better than you treat your mind, And, it really sat for me a while, because I'm thinking like, it's only when you're in crisis where you're running to either pray or you're running to therapy or you're running to something. But it should be like that maybe all the time.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Wow. That unpacking thing it's crazy, because even you see it or you hear it, or that you can see that like this guy's bloodline has had alcoholism. So he's not an alcoholic, but he's never taken the time to maybe deal with that. No, but it's crazy. It's like the things that are happening that are not even in your control, or it's someone who refused to heal. I think maybe I might look for that lady and see it.
I'll send you the number, right? We'll put it in the comment section.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sponsored by.
And I think she's now in Diani. So one of the things that happens in that world of meditation and space is that you work a lot with energies. And a lot has been happening with the energies around places like Nairobi.
Yeah.
Right? And, as we call it, rotonomics or other things.
Yes.
We can blame it on other things.
Yeah.
Them, they call it energy, and they don't like to exist or put themselves in spaces with bad energy. So a lot of that circle has moved to Kilifi and a lot of those places for better peace and better connection to energy.
Damn.
But I'm not a pro at those things. Mimi bado ni mwanafunzi. I'm learning.
You're learning.
But I know the energy in Kilifi and I love it.
Yeah.
I love it, yeah.
No, but weirdly, when you leave Nairobi, you can feel like something has happened. Like even your phone doesn't ring as much, Because I travel quite sometimes with my dad. It's like when I've left Nairobi, it's like guys don't call you, guys don't think about you. But the moment you enter after Thika, you even ask Nagayo, bro, how did you know I was back in Nairobi?
So my argument for Nairobi, I'm going to sell this to the world.
Yeah.
So I feel like Nairobi is an old promise. When you find a letter, like a treasure chest from 1960 that tells you kuna gold pale.
Yeah.
So now they keep regurgitating that same letter every year to tell us, we've just discovered the letter that has. But in the 60s, in the 70s, in the 80s, our parents and whoever else migrated this way to come to build this place. It wasn't our home.
Yeah.
When you look at the land size of Nairobi versus Kenya, Nairobi is it was supposed to be the government office.
Yes.
Right? So we were brought closer so that we can bring resources and expertise to this thing and, provide some building and make some money.
Yeah.
But our true wealth is in the place we are, right? If we are farmers, we have farms in the places we are. If we are fishermen, we have fish in the places we are, right? The consumer might be in Nairobi, but my business is not in Nairobi. But the psychology of, I don't know if we can call it capitalism when it's in a country like ours, but the psychology of capitalism is to tell you, come here. To succeed is to come here.
Yeah.
And to come here is to be made to pay more rent, to be made to have to talk to more people. Every day for random reasons. And then people it's the chick for Mshwari calling it. It's not even a friend. It's problems that are following you everywhere, right?
Yeah.
It's conmen saying, ile ya kitabu, it's not
of late, have you been getting that text?
SMS
for Wells Fargo? Is it Fargo? Yeah.
So the things that are following
or NTSA.
Here, it's not someone saying niko na maembe mingi kwa shamba kuja uchukue kidogo, kuku imetaga mayai, come and pick. It's not that. People are calling you to give you problems.
Yeah.
So Nairobi ni shamba ya mashida. But people are still, right now, if you went to your village, if you go and find kina Juma's people are still saying, najua Juma ametoka ameenda Nairobi.
Yeah.
Ameenda kututengenezea.
Yeah.
But in their house, they have a tree with mangoes.
Yeah.
And we are buying mangoes at 20 shillings here a mango.
Yeah.
The biashara Juma should be coming to do in Nairobi is to bring the mangoes from his shamba, then he goes back.
Yeah.
He shouldn't be coming to stay here in the place of problems.
Yeah.
And then now, the resource out there, hakuna mtu wa kupiga ile lap ya kuingia kwa shamba because ako kwa ile shamba ingine. Kula analima mashida.
Yeah.
Hapa natoka na diabetes. Natoka sijui ubibi wa kwanza akakuacha.
Yeah.
The thing we are fishing in this place is false. Okay.
Wow.
Now, the thing that happens when you move outside Nairobi, the air becomes cleaner.
Yeah.
The food becomes tamua, things
cheaper.
The quality of life is better.
Yeah.
Now, what the problem is the people realizing it now are our folks instead of us. So now you're seeing your folks saying, me, I'm moving to Nanyuki. Me, I'm moving to Nyeri. Me, I'm routing to build my house in Malindi. Then us, we're being left in the place that has
problems.
Nothing. As opposed to us guys going to say, guys, we're coming to open the podcast studio in Meru because I'm sure there are people like us who want to have this conversation about how life is moving in Meru. Maybe even in Kimeru.
Yeah.
Right? But us, now we're making them come all the way to Nairobi. The cost of telling that story becomes so high because we are centralizing things versus decentralizing. And so I think right now, yes, the power is out there, but the bigger challenge is we need to realize it quicker as young people. So I'd rather see, instead of a young person walking around Nairobi for 4 months looking for jobs, or 4 years, that range is also unlimited. You look for a job for 1 month or 1 year, and you have qualifications. Then you have an engineer doing, I don't know what, packaging for a fast food restaurant, It's like we're so disconnected, yet you could go back to where you came from, where your grandfather has a shamba that no one is living on. Everybody has left it and come here. You go take that. 10 years from now, when you do your recap, 10 years ago, I decided to move. My guy, look how Kinasu or Wino look happy. They just change any animal they have over there outside. Why? Because there's a life out there that is abundant. And that's African life. It's not this one where I live on a penthouse on top of 50 other people that I don't know. Cynthia, that's not African of us. It's ule jamaa jirani, that's my cousin. Huyu mwingine mtoto ni mtoto wangu, even if ni mtoto wa nana, this is my child. That's right now we don't have community. Right now you can live next to someone and say usicheze na ule mtoto wa number 2. Right?
It's true.
We're now stuck in this place, and I think a lot of the problems that we have are because we're not understanding the available power to us to be able to just be great at what we do if you just disconnect yourself kidogo from this problem center called Nairobi.
The thing is, so I've been attending this class on Saturdays. I've done like the first few weeks now. And they were saying a lot of blessings, alignment, and things happen are countercultural. It's when you're moving against what culture is telling you. And that's exactly what I'm also getting from you. It's you think that this is the path, but it's not the path. And one of the guys who taught, he's like an apostle. And he kept on telling us, like, a lot of people struggle because they're not in alignment of what they need to do. And alignment either comes from doing two things. Either you're in the wrong place or you're doing the wrong thing. And he's saying for a lot of people, sometimes it's just the wrong place. Because you say, I'm so good at what I do, but you're probably just in the wrong place. But now to go back to maybe what you said earlier on is you said, ever since you left uni, you've been doing what you love. So to you, what's the difference between a passion and a purpose?
Passion Passion is, I think I'd call it problematic, right?
Okay.
Passion is like a fire, right? It's like a spark that you feel inside you for something, right? Now, the problem with passion is just like a fire, it can be put out, right? So passion is, I'm really passionate about doing this podcast and having as many conversations and making sure we get it to the world. But you might do 1 or 2 episodes and people don't watch. And then that passion just becomes orange. It stops being...
It's not been a fire. It's a blue flame. It's that blue water, flame. Right? That blue flame, it can't burn.
Like a gas now.
Yeah.
And so it's like, we knew he was passionate and he really showed it. But that passion has ended. Right? Purpose is something that's put inside you. Right? And purpose can't be removed. The place purpose comes from, it's not a thing you turn on and turn off.
Okay.
Right? If you're a believer, then your purpose comes from God, the person who makes you.
Yes.
Right? And so God has put you on this earth for a purpose. Now, the way God works is he doesn't have to tell you the purpose. He doesn't even have to tell you, I put you here to be. Right? So, a lot of times you might be either living in your purpose and not know it or realize it.
Okay.
Right? Because maybe your purpose was There was a guy who was passing the road today and you stopped for him and he didn't get hit.
Yeah.
Maybe that was your purpose for today too.
For real?
Just to save a guy from getting hit.
Yeah.
The guy you stopped to give way. And then now his life didn't in the end. That was your purpose for the day.
Yeah.
Right? But you're looking for a big purpose. All of us want our purpose to be, I will lead a nation out of problems.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody wants the great purpose. But the purpose of the cock crowing in the morning, I don't know why it crows, but at like 3-4 o'clock, that guy is just gonna wake up and make that noise. There's like a guy who's gonna wake up and be like, thank God that cock crowed.
Yes.
I don't know if that cock knows it's living in its purpose and it's crowing, but it's making sure
that I woke up.
That Tupac wakes up to go and do the podcast.
Yeah.
So purpose is something that's given to you, right? Now, the superpower is when you have that alignment you just talked about and you're able to now align your life and your purpose, right? When you quickly, and I guess, and I don't want us to move this into now a preaching podcast, but the more connected you are to the person who gave you the purpose, the more you're able to understand your purpose.
That's
right?
true.
Because you're able to ask questions.
Yeah.
You're able to grow. You're able to test. So if you're connected to the source of the purpose, then you can say, oh, am I doing the right thing? Am I doing the wrong thing? And be guided.
Okay.
Once you find it, right? And then your purpose is, let me just take, I don't think my purpose is to bring happiness, but assume my purpose is to bring happiness. Then every day, how do you live in that purpose? How do you understand that when something happens, you're not expected to be the guy who shouts at people? You're not expected the guy who tukanas guys on the road and then you're supposed to do. But also, sometimes your purpose is not for your benefit. And I think that's where a lot of people struggle, right? Especially you talked about the apostle who was speaking, and was when you look at especially teachers of the word.
Yeah.
My guy, their purpose is tough because you are told to preach this, and then God gives you a life that to the untrained eye looks like this guy is mad.
That's true.
You're telling us to believe.
Look for something.
And then your daughter died. You're telling us to believe. And then your wife left you. You're telling us to believe. And they're demolishing your church tomorrow.
Yeah.
You're telling us to believe, So sometimes you're working in your purpose and you're doing the thing that you've been told, but it's not for your benefit. You don't benefit from this purpose. It's other people who are going to see the way you're living your life. And be like, we mtu anaweza fanya ni change.
Yeah.
Now him, the day he goes back to his maker, his purpose will have been ticked that he went and told people through the struggle to believe. Now you're here waiting to do a purposeful thing. You're just waiting to do. But every day, you're called to purpose. You're called to this thing that has, and it's not something you need to go learn.
Yeah.
Iko ndani yako tu tayari. Ile kitu you need to give to the world for it to be a better place, you already have.
No, I like that. And I'll even just read.
This notebook is gold, man. If we're going to do something, I'm leaving with this notebook.
Yeah.
Read.
Yeah, so it's crazy. So this is actually from the class that he taught.
Yes.
And it's just picking up from what he said. He said, your gifts are not your purpose. Your gifts lead you to your purpose. And again, because he's an apostle and he teaches through the word, he said, Joseph had a gift of interpreting dreams, but that was never his purpose. Yes? So you need to understand that your gift leads you to your purpose. And then another thing that he said is, your purpose has influence. So exactly what you said. So whether it's your family, a nation, or whatever, it has influence. So if you think you're living in purpose and there's no influence you have over anyone, you need to ask yourself again. Yeah.
Purpose is powerful. So I guess another word for influence is power, right?
Yeah.
Purpose is a powerful thing. If there's anything the world is afraid of, it's people who know their purpose. Yeah, because then you're considered unshaken. You're so brave because just like I know why I'm here, right? So purpose is is quite a powerful thing. Yeah.
But even before I get to that other question that I wanted to ask you, there's a day I saw a crazy thing on TikTok. And you know me, I like to question myself about these things that I see. I'm like, why would someone have such an opinion? And there was, I think, a lady, like she was saying, have you ever asked yourself, guys, why are the drugs that pull you away from purpose or give you like a tap into seeing other things legal? But the ones that, I mean, why are they illegal? But the ones that destroy that connection are the ones that they make legal. And I was like, damn, that's like a crazy thing to say. What do you think? Because they say like, you look at it like acid and things like that is illegal, but there's like some kind of like mirroring or awakening that they show you.
I think and this one I'll leave for, that
Those other people.
The meditation shake to take you through.
Yeah.
Because it's a very thin line, okay? Anything has a good and a bad side.
That's true.
Right? So if you use something properly, consciously, for the right reasons, the way the things you're describing are used today is not for that purpose. I'm not using it to connect to my higher self and to find awakening and to remove some of the noise.
Yeah.
I'm using it to
get high.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If that's the purpose, then I think that's why it's illegal.
Yeah.
Right? Because now for us, it's less a path to consciousness and more a path to
highness,
to darkness.
Yeah. No, it makes sense. That's a great answer, actually. No, that's a very, very good answer. When you sit here today, do you think you found purpose? I know it's a tough question.
I don't know about found.
Yeah.
Just because I'm not looking, right? You find what you're looking for.
Find it.
I don't know if I'm looking for purpose. I don't wake up every day saying, I hope today I find my purpose. Another major shift, maybe that I didn't tell you about the guy I am today is, becoming a father.
Wow, okay.
And when you have a child, number one, even if you didn't have purpose for yourself, you find purpose. Right? Because now when I wake up, there's somebody here who's looking to me, especially when they're super young, to teach them how to talk, how to ask for things, the names of things, those things.
Yeah.
So every day when I wake up and following a child is actually one of the most purpose-finding things you can do because it helps you to realize it's the little things, bro.
Wow.
The kid doesn't care about whether we went to the hub or whether we went outside. It's like, Baba, we saw Dudu. What's the name of that Dudu? Bumblebee. Oh, I saw Bumblebee. Then we talk about Bumblebee the whole day.
Wow.
That happiness that the child has in discovering this thing and being in time with this guy who knows. He knows the name of the Dudu, imagine.
Wow.
That will give you purpose.
Wow.
So now when I wake up, it's not about finding, but my daughter has significantly helped me to appreciate purpose every day, right?
Yeah.
And for me, the purpose now is, I've never had a bigger responsibility than
a daughter.
That there's this child who, bro, I can teach anything and everything.
Yeah.
And this one is my responsibility. This tree,
yes,
it's my responsibility to water.
Yes.
That it becomes fruitful.
Yeah.
What's the best way I can do? And I find that one of the things that fatherhood is a purpose.
Wow.
Right? To be given the privilege or the gift to be a father, right, will lead you to that thing. Now, as we take fatherhood as a reason to go more into, sasa niko na mtoto, let me go work. I need to go do more there as opposed to here. You've now been given the thing to shepherd, the little child to shepherd.
Yeah.
And then you say, let me find a good mbotch so that I have more time to go to work. In fact, let me get 2. Let me get 3. So other people to do the shepherding of the precious gift you've been given while you go look for money. I don't think looking for money is the purpose. I think if more people could find ways to spend time just like watering these trees your life becomes a lot better than whatever you go do in CBD.
Wow.
Yeah.
When you look at it, maybe let's get back now to like what you do, and I can even see the tattoos there on your hand. Mookh, how did that begin?
The Mookh story is interesting, right? We started talking about it as a solution for our own problems.
Okay.
We had a problem we needed to solve. We wanted to set up a business. We were setting up this Mookh vehicle to solve our problem.
What problem was this you were solving?
We were in retail. We had diversified, my business partner and I, into some retail business, and we were selling a product, but we were marketing it online. And so we wanted to be able to sell the product online, not just market. And we thought it was an easy thing, but it took almost 2 years from the day we started trying to realize actually there's gaps here in payment infrastructure and things like those that we need to solve.
Yeah.
By the time we were realizing this 2 years later, even our own problem had solved itself, right? So now we had built this thing, or we had spent 2 years thinking about this thing, and now we needed to find other people who needed to solve that problem for themselves. And so Mookh started to spread its wings to serve other people like us who existed in the market. And if I was to show you the plan, actually part of that 2016 recap, because 2016 was like, I think 16 weeks into us launching Mookh.
Oh, wow.
So we had just launched a few, like 2-3 months to the end of 2015.
Yeah.
Where you see what we thought Mookh was and what we wanted Mookh to be in 2016.
Yeah.
And how the machine itself every day kept like, it's like a river.
Yes.
You think it's going straight, and then you find, why did it pick a curve?
Yeah.
And then it came and picked another curve.
Yeah.
And so within that time, the machine itself has led us in so many different places that literally, like, the way you say, the vehicle has a driver and the driver is the one leading us.
Yeah.
This Mookh is like one of those Elon Musk self-drive cars.
Yes.
Because literally us guys we were told, like, make the Mookh and then sit inside it.
Yeah.
And you just make sure this thing is always on the road.
Yeah.
Where it's going, we don't know. The thing is self-driving.
Yeah.
But it's moving. And it's building its own expressways. It's like a weird machine that literally has moved us in 10 years into places and rooms we would never have imagined we'd go to.
Yeah.
We just wanted to sell our product on Facebook. Literally. It was our own problem we were solving.
Yeah. I think, and that's what when someone has a good business is, good businesses are able to solve problems for other people. And again, back to this conference thing that we attended, I remember Musaut saying, Mookh is the first company that ever wrote for Boutros a check for his music. It wasn't much, but it was something, And
it wasn't Mookh's money.
Yeah.
I don't take credit. It was actually Boutros' fans'
money. Yeah.
Okay. And part of what we've been able to do. So you find a lot of people who start businesses to make money, right? So you start businesses so that you make money.
The money, yeah.
This machine is built for other people to collect the money from their people, right? So we've just created a system that, because there are people watching this podcast and these people like what you do, how can those people give the podcast financial support directly? Just online, without having to come here, without having to one day meet us, without having to buy, just like, I want to support you. It becomes very difficult. We don't want to share your personal number. People now are sending you those Wells Fargo SMSs, right? So what is a way to safely collect money on the internet? Very many people are having this problem. And not just very many people who are making a lot of money.
Yeah.
Even the guy everybody thought, so these musicians or these events people, why would I create a system for those guys?
Yeah.
So as well, like, there are many of those. There are a lot more of those than the banks and the airlines and the hotels who need big processing.
Yeah.
So we just created the pipeline. Since then, thousands of people, thousands. Like that's what I'm saying. I can't even tell you that this was our plan.
Yeah.
The numbers we thought we'd be able to serve, we've probably surpassed
By far.
times X.
Wow.
Right? Because the people, and this is also that thing where the world and the audience are now in alignment.
Yeah.
Post-pandemic,
Yeah.
the other thing that happened is that the audience shifted significantly. So that time Boutros was making money on the system was before pandemic.
Yeah.
When we were trying to convince people, support, buy, Kenyan is dope. Now you don't have to say anything. Now it's just like people want to be buying Kenyan. People want to support the Kenyan. How do we build the infrastructure and make sure the infrastructure is ours?
Yes.
So for us, that's the problem we've been solving. Why, if I need to collect money from Tupac here in Nairobi, does he need to have a credit card to subscribe to Switzerland to send $5 so that they give me back 0.5?
Yeah.
That mathematics doesn't make sense
To you. Yeah.
So if we're in the place that is the home of M-Pesa,
Yes.
the Silicon Savannah,
Yes.
we have nice titles.
Yeah.
See, we build the pipe for ourselves so
That's
that
true.
Tupac's fans can send Tupac money here.
Yes.
That's the problem we're solving. So the day for me that all the creatives, I put in that recap, one of my biggest problems right now is music distribution.
Yeah.
I'm not actively in the business.
Yeah.
But it's the problem I want to solve. Because you can't tell me all these dope musicians can't make money in an economy where Chrome vodka can make money. And it's the same audience we're speaking to, right? If it's about 400 bob every day to enter a pocket, let it enter the creative's pockets and not the liquor company.
Wow.
Right? So there needs to be a way we can move a rail for distribution so that the same way all these other things are able to reach everyone in the country at an affordable price,
Yes.
so does the content and everything we're creating. It needs to do the same. And we can make a lot of money. We can be there standing in NSE declaring profits and IPOs because the creative work we're doing as creators is able to generate significant revenue. Right now, the revenue that's being generated, it's not ours.
Yeah.
It's some other guys.
No, that's true.
And I don't know those guys, so I don't care about them.
Yeah.
So, we need to move that money here so that us who know each other, let that money move in our real.
I like that. And I think, even again, to reference the conference, I think someone said that, I think it was Musa who talked about that, is how do you get more money to stay here? And I think that's also the problem as a country we're now getting. We've been convinced international. So even a lot of everything is going out. So nothing is staying in, and if you look at it, I think that's one of the reasons that South Africa is becoming such a prosperous nation is because of what's this thing called that they had? And they had to learn to produce everything in-house.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot and because we're not policy experts, we can't really, but I think in the change that we are currently fighting for as a region, because I think it's moved beyond just a Kenyan fight.
Yeah.
It's not just us who want change.
Yeah.
The change that we are fighting for as a region needs to also be backed with a renewed understanding of where our power is and what we can do. Africa is the food basket of the world.
Yeah.
A place like Kenya or Uganda can feed all of Africa.
Yeah.
The amount of food we produce here is crazy.
Yeah.
Right? Just in our soil. We're not that working too crazy. The soil exists to be able to do that. Work, right? So there's certain ways we can rethink, and you're starting to see it in, especially the West, and this where people are now starting to say the Africa we want operates differently and understands its value in the economic market. Because where we are now is, this is not 100 years ago. Now in the economic market, we have the next largest consumer base on the continent is here in Africa. We have all the resources. We have the most young people.
Yeah.
Okay. If you need labor and workforce for the next 50, 100 years, they need to come from
Africa. Yeah.
Now, if they're not going to come as slaves, how are they going to come? See, they're going to need to be, economic transactions that are happening where you're paying for value.
Yeah.
How do we make sure that everybody understands that?
Okay.
We can't be going into the conversation as the weaker party or the guy buying for things. We are a powerful part of the puzzle.
Yeah. Let me ask you, in those 10 years, is there a part that you said, hey, now I'm done trying to build this thing, nimechoka? Because I know, especially because you're saying you were in the entertainment industry, COVID might have closed your business. Is there actually maybe even than COVID, was there another point you're like, hey, nah, I can't do this anymore?
No, other than COVID, we were winning, bro.
Yeah.
Other than COVID, when you're winning, you don't think like that.
Yeah.
Other than COVID, you're just like, this thing, without me having any expectation of it, was doing its work. We were in 3 countries.
Yeah.
We were ticketing 400 and something events 2019.
Wow.
Right? The thing was moving.
Yeah.
Pandemic was the first time that was like, and it wasn't even I'm done, I want to nini. It was more the tears of how can this be done?
Yeah.
Right? So pandemic was man, I'm not ready to give up.
Yeah.
We can still do this.
Yeah.
There's still so much to do. And the whole world was just saying, no. Stay at home. Stay at home. So that for me was the only moment like that where it was tough to see this as like giving up. But the same world would then later come and say, we're ready to go outside.
Again.
We're not going outside without you guys. So
Yeah.
you guys need to come back. And that brought us back.
What kept you from quitting? Because I know a lot of people, you hit like maybe 2 years, no revenue, and you're like, hey, I'm done with this vision.
Appreciating that the vision wasn't ours.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Hii vision iliwekwa kwa roho yetu. And the guy who put it, we call him chairman. Chairman GOD. When he put the vision, he's going to be the guy who'll tell us when the time is done.
Yeah.
So for us, it's just been like, and there's many times. There's a story I like to tell where maybe 2 years into doing Mookh,
Yeah.
it was now we were at that place you're describing. The revenue is, there's some things happening,
Yeah.
but it's not revenue. You can't pay rent. You
Yeah.
can't do anything, right?
Yeah.
But bro, we were living so well. If you saw Eric and I in that time, we were living well. Used to be at Sankara every other weekend on the rooftop eating with our friends. We used to like have business from like multiple countries. We were being flown to places to do things. Like where we were looking at this thing as not being able to provide.
Yeah.
And I described that thing as what the Bible, those guys called it manna. We
Yeah.
think of it as just white rice pouring from everywhere.
Yeah.
But manna, literally, for us in areas like that 2018, where the business wasn't providing per se, manna was coming in all sorts of fancy-looking things. And so we were living so well.
Yeah.
And it was almost, sometimes, when you're working in purpose and vision and those things,
Yeah.
it's like almost once you commit yourself fully, somehow it works. So there's investors we met, some foreigners, and a lot of the Western world is not very religious.
Yeah.
And so we sat in a meeting and they looked at our books and they were like, I like what you guys are selling. You guys are brilliant.
Yeah.
Guys. These books don't make sense. How are you guys surviving? I'm not seeing your salaries here. We don't pay ourselves a salary.
Yeah.
So how do you live? How you guys work? You work full time on this thing? Yeah.
Yeah.
So how do you live? And we told that guy, it's God, bro.
Yeah.
And that guy just looked at us like, ni watu wa wash. And he walked away and he went and told the other investor that wanted to come and put money. He's like, there's something about those guys that's off.
Yeah.
And the thing he wasn't understanding is like, the thing that's off is faith, right?
Yeah.
It's belief, it's purpose, it's vision. It's the fact that as we were told, you go enter this vehicle called Mookh with no driver. I'm the driver.
Yeah.
And I'll take you to
Right.
good places. And in those good places, you will eat. It's a land of milk and honey and other good things. So we have gone and we've eaten well. And then now you keep going, and then you start hearing stories of other people saying, because of this thing, I was able to eat well.
Yeah.
You see that thing, you're the first guy to give me a check. You
Yeah.
see that thing, you're the first guy to... So even us when we were there, we weren't eating the checks from here.
Yeah.
God was just like, huyo patia Butros yake, give Wakadinali theirs, give Mayonde theirs, do yours is coming from this other side.
Yeah.
And I'll continue to provide it.
Yeah.
Right? So there's a lot that happened for us that was like, man, this vision has basically carried us versus us carrying
it.
Vision. Yeah.
I always say that, again, when you're in alignment, there's so much grace and such things that follow you. It's like a river flowing. Yeah, you find you've dropped something and it swiftly finds itself. There's not much hindrance or whatever. And you go getting the people that, it's like that vehicle that you're talking about. You go picking the people that you need to pick. Some you have to drop them off, Exactly.
Dude, you're very smart, can I tell you. And you think you're in a car, when you start, you're like, we're only given a small car. It's like what is the dog? Chap. We only have a chap.
Yeah.
But as you go picking people up, the other day, and literal analogy of what you're speaking, we sat with my business partner, Eric, and it was confusing to us that we have a payroll of 20-something people.
Wow.
There's 20-something people sitting in this chap that's being driven by God, and us we thought were passengers. When you look behind, kumbe this thing is a limousine. This thing has just jazzed people. Then the people who have shooked along the way, we didn't even see. The conductor has been shukisha in Kwaja. So there are guys who've shooked who are carrying your name, who are carrying your vision, who are carrying the same power. They're like, that kamoti moved me from here to here. That thing taught me so that I was able to do this. That thing gave me the platform so that I was able to do this.
Yeah.
So you in your head, you're still sitting being like, we have this chap. I hope it gets us across the valley. But the amount of stuff and growth that's happening, and you're just focusing on the prize is amazing. Yeah.
As we come to my last two questions, I wanted to ask you, if there's someone listening to this feeling a bit lost, confused, stuck, what would your advice to them be?
You're in that place for a reason. Okay? And there's a power in mindset, right? When you wake up in the morning and you've already gotten the best gift, which is you've gotten the ability to wake up. If you wake up and you're like, yes, I'm here. Let me go figure out how to make this work, or let me go figure out something. Versus the guy who wakes up and says, oh man, another day. If there are people up there who determine how the day goes, they're also saying, kuna mtu ameitisha mashida, kuja wapi mashida, come give that guy.
Yeah.
There's a power in positivity. There's a power in finding why are you in that situation? Why you? Why me? And people leave it in the Bible. You have people who ask God, why me?
Yeah.
Right? Sometimes when you ask that, you'll find it. Maybe you're the person who needs to learn this so that you can remove many others from this.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just a thing you're fighting, right? And again, I talked about the closer you are connected to the purpose giver.
Yes.
So there are times God says things and, you say, I had a feeling. And you think it's you having a feeling. That's God telling you, bro.
Yeah.
Invite that guy for your podcast. Or stop opening Instagram all night and actually sleep. Instead of doing this, write this idea that I'm giving you. Instead of always complaining and actually the money you have, go and donate to so-and-so. So there's sometimes you're guided and you decide that doesn't make sense. While you're waiting for things to make sense, you feel lost. You feel right? If you believe in God, great.
Yeah.
If you don't, you need to believe in something
greater than yourself.
And this is what even that meditation session taught me.
Yeah.
There are people who are able to sit in prayer and are able to connect the same thing that I was connecting through meditation. They can sit and pray and connect directly to that point where hapa sasa wanaongea na God, hakuna middleman.
Yeah.
Sindio? If you're able to do that, it makes being lost Not really. You know, that the guys, if you look at all these like Bundu Rovers, those adventure guys,
Yeah.
what us we call lost, them they call fun. Then they call discovery.
Yes.
Then they call adventure.
Yeah.
Right? They even go to look for places that we would say you don't want to go. Utapotea. Then they're like, nice. Turn left there. Right?
No, like those guys are too funny.
A large part of it is that. It's like, how do you look at life?
Life.
Bro, none of us has a manual. This thing doesn't come with a book. It doesn't come with a guarantee. It doesn't come with anything. We might look like we know what we are doing, but we're all just here. And it's you existing versus the birds, the plants, the trees, the water, the fire, the rain, all these things. Don't stress yourself too much. Not too many things are in your control, not too many things are in your power. The things that are, hold them dear. Hold them dear. A large part of this lostness that I think, you know, if you're watching this and you're lost because you're in Nairobi, if you're lost in Nairobi, get out of Nairobi, right? Step one. Because sometimes you're in the wrong place. And the wrong place will make you feel lost, will make you feel like you don't belong. But we don't like that feeling. So you're like, where am I going to go? Just go somewhere. I have a lot of respect for people who pick up their things and just go to another country. Like, you don't know anybody. You just went.
Yeah.
But literally, that's what the world is. Even those people there, they just landed. They were born one day and they were in Morocco.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, my guy, if you rock into Morocco and you can figure out the language and Didi, you can become a Moroccan.
Yeah.
Right? You can go anywhere in this world and do anything.
Yeah.
Don't limit yourself based on the things we have seen and accustomed ourselves to. There's so much out there for everybody.
Yeah. I think I like what you said is, if you look at it, if you're spiritual and you believe in God, there's a manual a bit, the Bible or any other book that's spiritually written, there's some guidance there. And I think because a lot of people have stepped away from being spiritual beings, that sort of confusion kind of finds a way into them, you know? Because I think we're not just human beings or physical beings. There's a spiritual aspect to us, which a lot of us have kind of pushed away. So it's good for people to start, you know, developing that. Yeah.
But you know, the people we have today are reading the Bible to learn, how do I make money? You know, people are asking, how do I make money? That answer is not there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so the Bible is a guide. It's the Bible is the white line on the edge, you know, and it's the lami. It's the thing to tell you, here is the right path. You know, if you're looking for the road, don't go off-road, go on this road. In here, the Bible doesn't tell you
how to make money.
There'll be a bad driver.
Yeah.
The bad driver, you come and you discover there on the road together.
Yeah.
And because of what you learned on the other parts of driving, you know how to behave when you find the bad driver. Right? But yeah, it's super important to just find something to connect to that will allow you to, you know, not rely on yourself as the power.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any final words before I ask you the closing question?
Life is short, man. I think, you know, more and more we're faced with this reality that, you know, no day is guaranteed. And I feel when I look around, everybody is postponing things for later. I have great plans for later when I make money.
Yeah.
You know, when I'm ready, when I turn 30, when I do what. You know, everybody has a plan for
Later.
a future that doesn't exist, imagine.
Wow.
You're not guaranteed tomorrow. So it's great to have a 5-year plan or a 10-year plan, right?
Yeah.
The guy in charge, him is giving you today. Tomorrow, he'll decide whether he's giving you tomorrow or not.
Whether you did
Everything we do,
Yeah.
we're postponing. So how do you do more today?
Okay.
You need to do more today. When you finish watching this, go and do more today.
Today.
Yeah.
Finally, what's one thing that makes you truly say just to kick it is a blessing?
Many things, but in this exact moment, I'd say it's connecting with the memory of a good friend of ours called Nick Wambogo, who just passed away 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
Brilliant filmmaker, is the guy who introduced me to podcasting.
Oh.
And he's been fighting. And he ain't here no more.
Wow.
So,
yeah.
Just to kick it is a blessing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much for coming in and sharing so much knowledge, for dropping so much gems on this episode. We really, really appreciate you and look forward to, having you again. Asante.
Blessings.
For those of you tuning in from home, thank you so much for listening to another podcast. Thank you for listening to Just to Kick It is a Blessing. Remember that no matter where you are, no matter what you're going through, Just to Kick It is truly a blessing. Goodbye and see you next week.